Hey, welcome to the Overshare Pamphlet. My name is Rob, and I'm the host of this one-man show. Long time no see. Now, sorry for last week's episode not coming out, but I was at Wimbledon, and you may think, oh, didn't you have time any other day of the week to do it, to do that, like to record an episode? Well, Wimbledon, to get there, I had to basically sleep at my friend's house the day before, and then wake up at like 4, and then go there to the whole day. So I completely my full weekend was completely booked, but it was an incredible experience, and I would definitely recommend if you ever come, like if you ever are in London and you are around that time, just try and go. The queuing itself, like going so early, will definitely allow you to get in, first of all, but also I think it's not super harsh as a queue, because like you literally you go there, you get a ticket, and basically that's gonna hold your space in the, like your position in the queue, and you can just like literally like picnic in the morning and do whatever. It just needs a bit of preparation, but if you're willing to do that, the queue itself is not that bad, because like there's the first queue, and then you get into the queuing village, and in the queuing village basically you're held there until they actually open Wimbledon. So and they have they have so many points where you could just like sit down, get a coffee for free, get some buns, some like croissants for free. So the whole experience of queuing wasn't that bad, and then staying there the whole day in Wimbledon to watch all the matches, including the final, was just so much fun. That like Wimbledon infrastructure there is just like gorgeous, super beautiful, and super well curated. So I would say do it. I really enjoyed it, and I would do it again next year. So period. But that's why I was not able, even like I was completely dead after that, like physically dead as well, so I couldn't really do much even during the week. I was like very low on energy, but like very content and very happy to have done that. So yeah. Anyways, so today I want to discuss the very hot topic of the cinema world, I guess, like the movies world, which is Superman. And this is probably like going to be, depending on how he performs in long term, it's going to be a huge indicator for Hollywood on whether it's going to be like the industry is like plagued by superhero fatigue, or if it's just like a Marvel situation and people being not happy with Marvel. But yeah, also this movie was super hot on social media. So I felt like I needed to watch it as well. And looking at the trailers, I was like, I'm intrigued. I definitely want to see it. And so I'm here to give you guys a review of the movie overall, and just in general what I think should not be done in the future of the DCEU, and what what I'm most excited about for the end of this month, because there's still another movie. Not so long ago, I made an episode about the three major blockbusters of the summer that were coming out all in the same month, and like it was gonna be like a face-off between the three of them. And I've watched, as of now, 2 out of the 3. So Jurassic World and Superman. We only have Fantastic Four to go, and we shall see how that's going to be. So yeah. Anyways, also stick until the end if you want to hear about my songs of the week. I decided to put that that portion of the episodes at the end of each episode, because I think it's like much more, it flows better. Just me introducing the topic, just going into it, and then giving you guys, for those who care about it, of course, the music that I've been listening to this past week, new songs for perhaps some of you who want to like get to know a bit more, some new songs or something that I really recommend or something like that. Not that I am like an expert or anything, but I have so many playlists, so I think I am at least qualified enough to talk about some songs that I've been obsessed with. Anyways, so what is this whole ordeal with the movie? What's this whole thing? This is the first movie of the DC EU, like headed by now infamous director of the Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn, and it's the first movie since he took over DCU, but also the first movie of his soft rebooted universe, DC universe. And so this is a new iteration of the Superman. Completely, new stuff, unrelated story to the previous ones, like Man of Steel and all that stuff. Doesn't really have to do anything with that. It's a new actor playing the Superman, so it's a fresh start for the character. And this movie made a lot of noise from the get-go when it was first announced, and then its first trailer was super, super, super hot. Like, it came out, I think, last December. The trailer came out for the first time, and it was so out of the gate, so well received. The trailer, it was super, super, super well accepted, and viewed and supported by, I guess, like the general public as well. Anyway, so, and then throughout the time, the months led up to the actual movie, we got more looks into the movie, and there were several, discussions online about whether it looked good or not, and some shots were a bit wonky and all that stuff. And of course, James Gunn being James Gunn, he addressed every single one of these comments online, which I still think is one of the weirdest things about this whole James Gunn management situation. Like, he is too hands-on, too responsive to the fans. Like, he engages in chats with the fans online, which to me is insane for someone who's supposed to be the creative director behind a full machine that is the DC universe and the whole brand. Like, he's supposed to be a suit as in manager, like corporate type of person, but we know very, very well that he's a creative first of all, and he was mostly a director before becoming this, I guess, head of the cinematic universe. So he, needless to say, he was front and center even during the press tour. Like, he actually joined the actors for the interviews and everything, which is very, very unusual. Some people may say it's genius or whatever because he's the most well known out of the bunch. He has a loyal group of fans, so he needs to be up front and up and center and be there to attract even more attention. But I personally found it very annoying. Like, especially in the long term, I was like, why does he need to be in every single part of the not simply the interviews, but it was also like in short skits that he did on social media to promote the movie and all that stuff. And he again coupled that with him being super active on social media and replying to people. I was getting sick of him specifically. I was actually very stalled on Lois Lane's casting and even Superman's casting. David Conan Sweat. I thought he looked, even from his trailers, very, very good. Very spot on for the role. And, for Lex Luthor, I don't know. They chose a bit of a bigger name for Lex Luthor. I mean, I can't remember. Actually, can't remember the name. Lex Luthor. Let me just look him up. Nicholas Hoult. He also has been, I think, in some of the X-Men movies, and he's been, in every night. He's never made it as a big star, but he's definitely had, a considerable amount of important movies to back him up. And turned out he was actually among the three main, big names in the cast. He was paid the most, despite him being, not necessarily the main character, like Superman is supposed to be. But anyways, but I was not sure about him. And then I went to the movie, and I had mixed expectations at that point, because I was getting sick and tired of James Gunn. All respect to him. I think he's a very interesting director, and has a lot of interesting, he has at least one thing about him is he has his own flair and his own flavor about what he directs, and you can tell it's a James Gunn movie. But this whole him being everywhere was just a bit odd. Like, you're supposed to be the director. Like, no elite director is, joining the cast and like being front and center in all photos and all that stuff. Like, it's just odd behavior. Like, sure, sometimes you see like separate interview with, or like some actor on director situation, but interviews, but it's never been a director being omnipresent in every single aspect of the movie, like, except of course on screen on the actual movie. But weird. Anyways, so I went to watch the movie, and I was, as I said, I didn't really have any sort of like high expectations, to be fair. I was just like, but I was intrigued in the movie nevertheless, especially because of like, this being the first movie of the DCU, and also, being one of the three main blockbusters of the season. I was pretty much intrigued. Also because I went to watch Jurassic World, and I think I left the movie with like, I don't know. Like, I thought it was okay. I thought it wasn't that good of a movie. I thought it was just like whatever, like, it wasn't that. There was too much dialogue, I think, in some parts. Like, it was too much time spent on like the bloody boat, and some unnecessary dialogues that didn't really, progress any of the story, to be fair. But, and also some unresolved situations. But I got, maybe they're trying to like, save some relationship between the characters to evolve in future movies. But either way, I left that movie being like, oh, okay, so that, to me personally, that's not the movie of the summer, at least. And so I left, let's just say, hungry for more. So, although that movie, just to emphasize, that movie is doing very well on the box office. Like, the Jurassic Park / World brand is so strong. Like, all of its movies, I think, have done around $1 billion, or like close to, or some of them were, well, the previous trilogy all did $1 billion each. So it's a very strong brand. Families love the Jurassic World. I think it's just a very strong brand because of the family element, most of all, because kids love dinosaurs, so that's never going to go away. But yeah, not my favorite of the franchise. I think it was okay, whatever. So I was like left hungry and wanted to see something that was gonna provide, I guess. So I went to the cinema a week after release, to be fair. So I went this past Friday, yeah. And so I had mixed expectations, but I wanted something good. That was my mindset. I was like, been disappointed by Jurassic World. I want something different. And so I went in, no bias, and I think I left the theater pretty confused. I thought that the movie was overall okay as well. I think I liked some elements of it, but I also didn't really like other elements. I thought the structure of the movie was a bit of a mess, and I understand the vision in the sense that it's supposed to be told as a comic book story, like a proper comic book, the actual physical thing, where you just pick up where in the middle of nowhere in the story, and just like, pick it up from there and just run with it. But this, although it is based on a comic book, it's supposed to be also cinematic, 4-quadrant, like, a blockbuster type of movie that's supposed to appeal to a lot of people. And I think the story itself, the messaging and everything was interesting, and I liked it, but I don't think structure-wise and like narration-wise was smooth. I think it just, assumed that we knew everything about Superman already, which is like, he is a very popular character, of course, but I think at least for the story itself, you need to like sort of set up who he is and all that stuff. You start picking up all these elements throughout the story, like you do the work yourself. But yeah, so I thought the first act, for example, was a bit of a weird one. I didn't really particularly enjoy it, and I definitely, got more into the movie towards the end of it, if that makes any sense. Like, I did like the third act. I did enjoy that. But I think the first act was a bit of a mess. Second act was a bit boring, I have to be honest. Up until when he got, I think, arrested, quote unquote, like he turned himself in and went to this like pocket dimension or whatever and got imprisoned. Everything else was a bit... I did like the dialogues between him and Lois, though. I did really enjoy that part, those two on screen had a lot of chemistry, and I really liked it. I think for me the standout was actually the actress who played Lois Lane. Like, she was so good in the role. I think she was perfectly cast. She was super good, and also her acting was always on point. I What else? I think I did. Not that it super bothered me, but I think the first instance where we saw Superman's, like, Clark Kent, middle American family, like the, foster family, or however you want to call it. The first instance where they were introduced to us, I thought it was a bit almost. I don't want to say like James Gunn was trying to make fun of them. I don't think that was the intention, but it did come off a bit as, like, treating them as ignorant people from the middle of America, and being a bit, when they were talking on the phone with him, when he was going to it wasn't like going on front page on the, Clark was going on front page of the newspaper he works at. The whole conversation between them was a bit, I thought it was a bit meh, caricaturesque, and a bit, whatever, like, didn't really care too much for it. I thought it was borderline almost, trying to make fun of them a bit. But the second iteration, when Superman goes back to them, to his house in the farm or whatever, and the parents, especially the dad, talks to him. Oh shit! It's London, and it's never going to be quiet. But yeah, I cannot close my window because it's so hot. But anyways, the second instance when he goes back to the family, it was actually very, very nice. I liked the dialogue between him and the father. That was very cute. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, that's another problem I had. I think another extra problem I had was that the movie was sometimes. I'm gonna sound so mean, but it was hard to look at. I think some of the CGI and some of the shots and cinematography was a bit rough and not cinematic at all. It felt really fake. It felt the CGI wasn't really smooth. Some of the flying scenes were a bit off. I don't know. I just didn't really like the cinematography of this. I didn't really like the CGI. Like, it didn't come to me as, when I left the movie, I was like, I didn't really have like a cinematic experience. You know what I mean? I had like, it felt more like a fun project that a group of, a bit like an experimental movie that, a group of people with like great ideas put together, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like a very polished movie. And again, I'm not complaining about that specifically, but this being a blockbuster movie, supposed to be a blockbuster movie, the budget that he had, I thought it should have been a bit more palatable and a bit more well structured, and also frankly shot better, and just with better CGI. Sometimes like the CGI looked rough as hell, and it didn't look like it belonged there. So yeah, like, I just, that was a bit weird. Also, I think that I didn't particularly enjoy the very, I'm not saying the acting was bad. I don't think it's that. But I think Superman, the whole point of the character is supposed to be, this fearless man, and he is. But sometimes they made him a bit, too jokestery, too bro-esque. And I was like, okay, I mean, that's a choice for a character. I'm sure the street man's fans of James Gunn will love it. But I personally didn't really resonate with him in those departments, if that makes any sense. Which is fine. It doesn't have to be like that. But just a personal preference. So it's okay. But I did enjoy, for example, as I like dynamic between him and Lois. I do wish we had a bit less characters, so we could have delved a bit more into Lois, for example, into Clark Kent as a person rather than just a Superman thing, because we spent most of the movie just with him being Superman. And then I wish we also had a bit more insight into Lex Luthor. I do understand him hating Superman, because of like the whole thing about him being an alien and like making humans become obsolete or whatever. But I just wish he had also a bit more of his backstory, or a bit more. See, that's what I mean. Throwing us into that, assuming that we know people's motivations and all that stuff, doesn't really work. To me personally, because I would have loved to establish a bit more of a connection with Lex, I think, and even all the other characters. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think if we had less characters, because there's also that Justice Gang or whatever, like with Hot Girl and what was it, Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Incredible, whatever his name is, and Guy and all this stuff. Yeah, I think there were too many characters that also, therefore, left less space for everyone to be properly, I guess, explored. So yeah. Oh my god, it's just like I'm shitting on the movie. But that's just because like I'm critical about it, just because like I see the potential and I see what's very interesting about it. But I unfortunately think I didn't particularly enjoy it. I wouldn't say it's like a highlight for me. Yeah. There was a bit of that little part about Bravia and all that stuff, like that had a bit of a Israel and Palestine undertone, and I thought that was very interesting. I sort of felt like that was, an interesting choice for the movie. I don't like it. I think it's actually quite intriguing when they try to like blend in real history with like, fictional history in that sense. I'm not sure if this is going to impact the movie's performance, but yeah. And also from the opening weekend, it did pretty well in the US, but the international box office was quite low. Like it was 92K, I think. Sorry, 92 million. And I think, that is a bit concerning. I think the main problem that is happening like outside is that people don't, outside of the US maybe, we're not really that intrigued in Superman's story, and I think it's the movie itself is very American centric, if that makes any sense. There's a lot of that, I think, that I don't know, might be a bit deterring to, people wouldn't be particularly interested in that, like outside of the US. And I think also, again, like the brand of Superman is not really that popular outside of the USA, so I think that's partially why. But yeah, I did really enjoy the last the last fight scene and all that stuff, and the face off between him and Lex. And I did really enjoy Crypto was another very nice addition to the story. I think it was really cute. So yeah, I think overall, I think I would have structured the movie a bit differently, and I would have taken less characters into the movie, and I would have, established a bit more the characters. I would have done a bit more of that groundwork personally, and yeah, I think I would also consider changing team, because it felt very similar to like also cinematography wise to the previous DC movies. So I don't know. I wish they could have done something different. So again, not to say that the movie was bad. I actually quite enjoyed it. Sorry. Well, that's that I enjoyed it. I just said like it wasn't that good, but I think it was okay. That's what I mean. It's not something that I would watch again. It's not something that I would rewatch necessarily, if that makes any sense. I just think it was a good experience. I can see the vision. That's what I mean. And I think something unique can be done if there's a bit more of a polishing act there. Like someone from, again, the Suits looks at the product and says like, okay, that's a great artistic, an interesting idea, but how can we make it a bit more palatable and a bit more accessible to everyone else? Like, you cannot make a movie just for the comic book readers, it has to be something a bit more accessible to everyone else. So I think that's what's a bit missing, so yeah, that's that. But yeah, I would say go and see it if you are, up for a little intriguing, experience. But if you're not up for like a movie that's a bit, all over the place, then don't, I guess. I'm still, left hungry for a good blockbuster movie, and I'm hoping Fantastic Four can deliver. I sense that out of the three, at least from the trailers, it looked like this movie's gonna be very like nicely shot. I like the cinematography there quite a lot. So I'm hoping. I'm not gonna put any high expectations on that, but I really want to see what's going to happen there. And Vanessa Kirby, I love you. She's so good. So we'll be watching that for sure. Yeah. Anyways, songs of the week. Let's see what the fuck is up. First of all, actually, I need to talk about this song because I couldn't talk about it last week. Jump by Blackpink. This song, I have to clap and cheer for Blackpink, because these girls, I just realized that it's just like they keep on being relevant despite like them being almost 10 years old as a group. Like they're 9 years into their career, and they are still very relevant. And I think they also always make very interesting choices. Like I think this as a single was a very brave choice, because this is like a pure trance, like almost like drum and bass type of song. Like it's a ravey type of song, and it's not like ravey pop song, like a pop song that has a bit of rave elements. No, I think it's more like a rave song that has some pop elements into it. So very left leaning type of music, like so brave for them to put something like this. And I think it sort of worked to me. I really like the song. I think it's actually very, very cool. And the video, very funny, very comical, very different from what they usually do. I thought it was a great move to come up with like a fresh, different take on the music videos that they do on YG. So that was incredible. The song itself, again, I think the last like 10 seconds in the song as well are like pure drum and bass with no vocals or anything. So interesting. I thought that really surprised me. I have to be honest. It's been a while since I've been surprised by someone, like music wise, and I think Blackpink keeps on doing the right thing. And I really have to give credit also, I think, to the girls, because YG overall I'm reevaluating my, they have a great eye for talent, I think, but Blackpink has the secret sauce. Like there's something, the if factor in them that is just impossible to replicate. I think it's just so difficult even for YG itself to replicate Blackpink. It's just impossible. It won't be possible to be achieved again, I think, or at least anytime soon, because they're so perfect for what they do. Like the song is just so much fun, and I think they proved themselves also in their solo that they all have their own personalities in a way, and I think they have a good gut for what like needs to be done in the music. And I think this is just another further like testament, I guess, to their ability to still impact the music industry and bring in something different, something a bit more unique. Don't worry, like YG, I know YG has always been famous for its dance and techno and EDM type of tracks, but I think this is a first for how like experimental for them is, like for the YG thing and for the brand. Like Blackpink is overall, I would say, it's more of like a pop hip hop group that sometimes has done some EDM tracks, some like dance beats, but it's never been like this, drum and bass, trance music. Diplo produced a track as well, so that explains a bit why it's like this left leaning, but kudos to them. I just have to like clap and cheer. Whether you like the song or not, I think you have to give it to them for bringing in something fresh, something different, something still uniquely them, if that makes any sense, but so different from what they've done before. So I think they managed to keep the Blackpink essence in it, but still change it up and switch it up for this new release, and I'm very excited for the album. I know we've been promised an album before this tour started. I don't know what that whole like release seems to be a mess, but the album will come out. One thing is for sure, that album will come out. I'm very excited to see if they're gonna keep up this vibe, or if they're gonna give us a bit more of a varied album or something. But I'm excited. As of now, all their albums I've not missed for me personally, so I'm still a blank on my heart forever. And this just proves even more to me that, just we've been needing them. We've missed them as a group, and they've done everything. So period. I'm very excited. For the album, actually. Yeah. Anyways, now another group of the same generation put out an album and a comeback twice. They also completely slayed. The album is full of incredible tracks. I urge you to listen to 4. My favorite track overall, there are so many good tracks, as I said. My favorite track is Heartbreak Avenue, I think. That song is just so good. I wouldn't necessarily like classify it as. I think I would actually maybe say it's more of like a R&B adjacent track, but it's so good. I like Batitude. I like Right Hand Girl. I like that Who. But I think overall, Heartbreak Avenue is my favorite track. Incredible track. So good, girl. So good. Then I want to talk about Saturday Night by Ilio. This song is so cute. I love this song. I'm obsessed with it. It's just such a cute song, and thinking about someone, very fondly, and being, trying to do everything to distract yourself, but can help but think of this person. So very cute track lyrically, but also production wise, very, very nice. There's just like little recurring riff with an acoustic guitar is just so catchy, I think. So if you want something like that, go listen to that. And go listen to the album, actually, the EP, Autonomy by Elio. So that would be a great addition to your playlist. Really, really cool. Yeah. Then, oh yeah. You're the One by A Girl's Experience. No, wait. By Ren for short. Don't know anything about this artist. I just discovered them through this song. This song is so good. This is like to me, it's like in a camp of like what's been happening with Chapel Rowan a bit, that 80s party, pure pop songs. It reminds me also a bit of 1989 by Taylor Swift, but it's also very, very unique. Also somehow it reminds me of Take Me to Your Best Friend's House. Yeah. Tongue Tied. Yeah. That reminds me of that as well. A bit of that, sentiment, that, cheerful, youthful song. But that was, that's what the song reminds me of. And it's just so pure of energy and so nice. Has that little synth bass in the back that is very typical of Style or Dancing on My Own or We Can Be Friends, like that type of vibe. But it's just so much fun. The song is so energetic and so cool. I really love it. So go listen to that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the songs of the week. You can find them on my playlist. Well, I have a playlist for each month with the songs of the week for that month, and you can just type on Spotify the Overshare Pamphlet songs of the week dash July 2025, and you'll see the songs there. With that being said, yeah, just keep on slaying. I cannot promise I will be able to make another episode for next week, because I will be away the next weekend. I'll try my best, but if you don't see an episode next Monday, sorry. A girl is busy. But yeah, enjoy your week. I'll see you very, very soon. And just, go see Fantastic Four at the theater. Apparently it's going to be a slay. So catch me doing that as well. Bye.